Hi, everyone. This is Jacqueline from She Rises Studios, and welcome to another powerful panel discussion for Plan a Life You Love and Live It Out Now. In this conversation, we're diving deeper with several of the incredible authors who bared their souls to help you reclaim your purpose, your confidence, and your voice. These women didn't wait for permission to live. They took bold steps towards creating a life that feels authentic and aligned. Whether you're navigating change, rediscovering yourself, or simply asking, is this all there is? You're in the right place because Plan a Life You Love is your invitation to stop settling down and start living out loud. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Hello,
Hello.
Jacqueline.
Hi. So, you know, just so we can, for everybody that's just tuning in and would like to know a little bit more about you, why don't we go around, introduce yourself, and let us know why did you choose to accept, to say yes to this invitation from Hannah to be part of this awesome book? Let's start with Carmen.
Hello, I am Carmen Mendel and in Baxter, Minnesota with my husband and son. And when I was invited to write in this book, I was really drawn to the idea that we make our plans, but God directs our steps. And as I was reviewing my life and thinking about how I thought something would go one way and it went the other, that's part of my narrative. So,
Awesome.
Awesome. Yes, let's go to Erica.
Love that, Carmen. And
mhm.
so my name is Erica Elliott. I am a brain code strategist. I am a counselor for over 30 years. And this book really touches me because it's really my life story. 5 years ago, I had a huge health crash. And at the same time that I had a health crash, my husband had also gotten injured on the job, and my husband is a retired chief of police, and this is the first time I share a little bit of some of the story of the background of his journey too, with some stuff that he went through during that, and so it was kind of one of those wake up calls, going through COVID and having a lot of friends who had passed away and realizing, is this really the life we want where we're in the grind of the kind of workaholism kind of a mentality? And so, we had already started shifting our life a few years ago, and this just seemed perfect to help people understand that. Look, if life is not the way you want it, it's never too late, and you're never too sick, you're never too old to restart and do something different.
Sylvia.
That's so true, Erica. So beautifully said. Hi, beloved viewer. My name is Sylvia Becker Hill, and I wrote in our wonderful book, Plan a Life You Love and Live It Out Loud Now, the chapter Flip Waiting to Creating the Quantum Practice of Gratitude. And I said yes to the invitation from Hannah Olivas because I live here as a German in Southern California. I'm surrounded by law of attraction practitioners. I've been to retreats with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And so there's a lot of myth out there about how do you manifest. By the way, a word I avoid. I prefer the word how do you create? Not because the word manifest itself is wrong, but it's often, in my eyes, misused. From my upbringing, I'm a scientist. I have two
Mm.
university degrees. I'm one of the first 10 certified master neuroplasticians, which has nothing to do with plastic surgery. But the relationship to that is it's about rewiring, reshaping your own brain. So my chapter is not about emotional intelligence. It's literally about switching the paradigm from the Newtonian linear understanding of the power, what is gratitude, to the quantum physical paradigm. And for me personally in my life, that was a huge empowering shift. It was like an earthquake. I'm having your story, Jacqueline, in my mind right now. So I wanted to have the opportunity, I said yes to have the opportunity to share that huge personal shift and the stories that led me to that shift, and also what is now becoming possible for you, beloved viewer, and hopefully reader of our book, when you make that shift, when gratitude is not any longer your answer, your response to something that has previously happened, like you got a promotion, you got a gift, or something nice happened, but rather becomes something you create as an embodiment somatically within yourself, and you co-create with whatever you believe in, God, universe, love. I believe in nature and nature's laws. So when you co-create with whatever you believe in, coming from gratitude, that's what my chapter is about. And just to be clear for all viewers, today here we celebrate 3 books: the hardcover of our book, the paperback version, and the journal, because we authors want you, beloved reader, to have a huge return of investment of not only your money but your time of reading the book. And neuroscience has proven people who use a journal and write by hand into the journal. This is why I'm not promoting the ebook of the journal, sorry. Because handwriting is so crucial for the activation of your brain. So, beloved viewer, get the book, read it, and have the journal side by side, so that after every chapter you read, you write in the accompanying chapter of the journal from all the authors here present and those who can't be with us live here today. And by doing that, you will breathe in all the wisdom, the stories, the tips on a much deeper embodied level. I'm so excited to
Awesome.
read the
Wonderful.
reviews.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Gabby.
Hi everyone. I'm so excited to be here, and I will tell you a little bit about how I become part of this amazing group of this amazing group of writers and authors. And is this year has been kind of crazy for me because I always have like a plan, and like Carmen said, sometimes and so many times we have our plans figured out, and then God had different plans and he takes us from different roads that we never expected. So this book to me was I'll say a confrontation of myself, because I always pretend, and not just pretend, I'm trying to be really positive and always being resilient with my life. But it was a moment when I read what was the book about. I had to really go deep inside myself and said, okay, this is time for you to really speak out loud of what it is to be married for 20 years and then finally discover that this is not going to be your future anymore, and that you have to overcome a lot of situations, a lot of I would say frustration, sadness. And how do you go through life when you have a successful business, when you are a successful person, but at the same time you always have to be like positive and dealing with all these things in lives, and in the meantime you are completely destroyed and completely out of energy and out of willing to keep going on with your life. So it was a really confronting moment for me to really sit down and start writing about this experience that I know many people. It's not just about marriage, but sometimes it's about work, it's about family, about losses of friends or loved ones. So sometimes we have to deal with these things. So to me, it was a really exciting moment. It's like the first time I'm with you guys in the group, so I'm really excited and to know all of you. And of course, I'm just so moved, and I will tell you, it's the stories are amazing. And I think every woman that has experience, it's important that we share it with the world, because many times we think we are the only ones that are experiencing hardships in our lives.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Gabby. And we're happy that you were able to join us today. Now, each of you have brought your own story, your own chapter, and during the entire journey of you writing your chapter, did you discover something new about yourself? I would like to share.
I could start off with that one. In the book, it's entitled Windows into My Soul. And so that is where I describe, a story about how I start off thinking my life is going to go one way, and then things happen, and, it pivots. And so, and also with the journal, I talk about the 9 dimensions of health. So I go through physical wellness, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual, financial, environmental, occupational, and cultural. And I call them the windows. And then I talk about different reflection questions that you look into. So one of the things that I discovered is that as we're writing this, we're also living real life. And for me, this was very healing, because I could travel along in real life and discover something many years later that would have helped me not feel like I was carrying something. And I didn't even realize I was. But to reflect on that was really just helped as far as self-awareness as I was writing.
That's wonderful. And it's wonderful that you mentioned that, this book, as Sylvia showed us before, comes with a journal,
Yes.
which is a wonderful tool for everyone. She maybe Sylvia can share a little bit more on how it affects our brain when we write things down. But why do you think it's important not to just get the book, but get the journal as well?
Well, a lot of people sadly don't read at all any longer. And then there are different kind of books. There are audiobooks, and I have again and again debates with my clients who tell me, "Oh, I'm not a visual learner. I'm an auditive learner, so I need to hear books." And please don't get me wrong. I'm happy if people listen to books. I am an author in multiple audiobooks as well. It's just that the physical book is a full body sensory immersive experience. They make different sound, the hardcover or the paperback, and the smell of the pages. So when we read physical books, the reading and the journal, the writing, we activate our senses, more senses than just when we listen to an audiobook, for example. And as more senses activate the brain, as more areas in the brain are activated, and when we write with our hand versus the usual typing now on keyboards where our hands stay parallel. I'm raising here my hands to show it here in the camera. When we write by hand, we go with the hand over the middle line. It doesn't matter if you are left to right writer or right to left, you go over the middle line of the body. And kinesiology, a science about movements and the impact of movement on the brain, shows that the corpus callosum, the bridge between the two halves, lights up and is like highway nerve cell driving connections between both halves of the brain are activated. And when we write by hand, we can access our own subconscious mind. When we just read with our eyes, which is great, and it's a physical somatic experience if it's a hard book, a physical book, and still it is quite mental. Yeah, it's conscious mind. The neocortex is following with the eyes, the linearity of the letters. When we handwrite into a journal, we co-create more body parts, more sensory input floods the brain. And when the subconscious mind gets opened up, we then, the reader and writer, receive more insights. So when you just read, you receive the insights of the authors. But when you journal about what you just read, you receive your own insights about that which you just read, and not only from the conscious mind, which sometimes the learning happens with physical books as well, but you also get the subconscious connections to memories from your early childhood you didn't consciously know you have still stored in your brain, etc., etc. So reading physical books and journaling is the ultimate experience of reading and learning. And in the time of AI, I have to say that as well. If you want to keep your brain sharp and functioning, remember, use it or lose it. As more we delegate to AI, as dumber we all are becoming. And reading physical books and handwriting can protect your brain from the negative impact of AI. I mean, I love AI. I'm not an enemy of AI, but I know the consequences if I let my assistant ChatGPT do everything for me. Then my brain becomes so dumb, I would lose even the ability to read. So that's the long answer to your innocent question, why the reader should get both the book.
Can I just echo what Sylvia said? So my background is neuropsych too. And so it's one of my favorite things to teach my clients of writing things down. The research shows about 76% higher rate of achieving those successes when you write it down. 76. I mean, that's huge. Right. It also ignites the reticular activating system, which is your visual system. And writing mimics contracts. So it's like you're writing a story, a contract to yourself. Right. So, it's a beautiful thing what happens in the brain. One of the oldest Harvard studies on goals had to do with class, that they took this class and they followed them all along. And of those who wrote the goals, which was only about 3% of the class, 3%, made more than all of the rest of the class combined yearly. Like, can you imagine?
Wow.
Like, I mean, like that, like because their brains worked differently. And if we learn how to use our brains right, writing helps us to, and you can say the word manifest. Manifest is just the evidence of, it's not good nor evil. You can manifest those goals differently because you literally are seeing them, you're flowing them, and there's something that happens. They talk about when we write, that is a somatic response, kind of like what Sylvia was sharing too, is that just what happens in the whole body system making this agreement with your heart to have motivation. And so they talk about how it producing motivation in the whole body system. So yeah, pretty cool.
I'd
That's
like to add
awesome.
one more thing to
Yeah.
that. I love the idea of writing, Sylvia and Erica, but I also took it one step further. When I was a coach for 8 years, I taught, I was a certified fitness coach and I had my master's in nutrition. So I worked with clients. And what I did is I had them create goals of either fitness goals or nutrition goals. And I would write them out with them as I onboarded them as a client, but then I'd ask them to repeat them out loud 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening. And it was amazing how that just sunk in. So not only the writing down, but the repetition then after
Yes.
writing down
Yes.
just really brings it to a head. So I
Yes.
completely agree.
Wonderful.
Gabby as well. I'm sure you do some of that as well. So
Yes.
the goal setting and just
Yeah.
writing it down makes
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah. Read, write, recite, right?
There you go.
Oh,
It's the same.
that's
Love it.
wonderful.
It is the same. It is the same in neuropsych. I tell people that all the time. When you change your brain, it's the same in neuropsych as it is what we were taught in school. Read, write, recite. That repetition over and over and over again is what rewires. Yep.
I love that. I love that. Read, write, recite. One more thing on my board. What women, when women purchases this book, reads your book, closes it out, writes their journal, closes it down, what do you hope they will feel after they read, write, recites?
In my experience, I had to tell you, during the experience of writing the chapter, I realized that going through this difficult time, and at the same time successful time, because it was both the same thing, writing down and using a journal, it was like I was not used to journal. And I hear all the time that, oh, you have to journal, you have to journal. I write a lot. Everything I hear, I write. At every course, every program, everything I will write. Even if I'm reading, I will like take notes. But journaling during this process helped me really understand that even though I wanted to be in control, I'm not in control at all. And that I have to be present. I have to write down my goals, and I have to write down my vision of my future. But at the same time, I have to trust that there is a process in my life, and the only one that is in charge of that is God. And if we really trust, and
Absolutely.
we said we trust, but many times we don't. It's like, okay, I trust you, but this is what I want. And when we let go, and when we live in the present, when we learn and practice breathing and do journaling, and really put on piece of paper all our worries and our wishes, and we have a connection with him, things start happening, and then the magic start happening, like Erica said, like the manifestation, right? Everything starts showing, and it's like a magic thing. So I think it's a good time to really like slow down and reflect and do the exercise. And even if you are mad, because in my journal there is a part in there where I said, just write down why you are mad of God, with God. And when you do that, then you start shifting, like, okay, I'm so mad and so sad and so this. But then once you get it out of your system, calm start getting in, and clarity start coming in.
Yes. Yes.
That's wonderful. And
I love
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Gabby, I love what you just said with the getting it out of your system. That is aligned with my philosophy of neurocreativity. And in the journal, you have pages specifically for that. It's not just a journal to write. There are also pages with symbols. There are pages that have images here for somatic research, where you can draw, where you can doodle, where you can fill out pages. So the journal is not just a writing journal, it's also a visual, neurocreative journal to get things out of your system onto paper. Because I don't know who said it first, it's an old meme before neuroscience existed. Seeing is believing. And that, for me as a neuroscientist, shows up in my experience with my clients. I'm a coach for now 28 years. And I was struggling in the first years with my own frustration regarding the sustainability of the coaching. Clients transforming and changing their life and their career. And then half year, 8 months later, I reach out to them, and they were often sadly falling back into old behavior when the environment doesn't change according to their change. Sometimes the environment is overpowering, and then they transform themselves back to stay in alignment with the environment. But when I added the visual, what Gabi just said, the expression out of the soma, the body, onto paper, and they see with their own eyes, oh my gosh, I got from here to there. I did that. I transformed. I changed. And that up-levels their confidence that they believe and trust into their own transformation. And since I do that for, I don't know, the last 20 years or so, that gives them the strength to keep sustainably the course towards their dream and goals, no matter how strong the environment is opposed or tries to, transform them back. Because let's be honest, when individual humans change, that can be so scary for the environment. Not everyone likes it when we change. So what Gabby was talking about, you need faith, you need trust. Is it in God, universe, love, nature's laws? I personally don't care what it is. I just know you need the strengths of faith and trust. And seeing is believing, and it starts with the writing, and it can be abstract doodling, or it can be a full-blown image or painting about your dream and goal and your own transformation.
Awesome. Now, for people, women, men out there who are thinking about, let me just start journaling, but they just don't know how. They haven't journaled ever, but they want to do it right now. What would be your advice to them?
So
I
for
could
me,
take that one.
I
Oh,
will.
go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, for me, I tend to teach people different than what they've been taught. Many times they'll tell me, I teach them that you can do it a lot of different ways, but make sure whatever you do as you journal, afterwards you ask yourself, what did I learn from this? And what do I want to do differently from this? Because if you just write for writing's sake, it's kind of like purging, which is a great thing. But if you have no meaning from that, if you've not given yourself permission to decide, what do I want to learn from that, or what do I want to do with this stuff now, then it's kind of like going and purging to a friend that you're just like, I'm just getting all this vomit out. But if you take and you start journaling and you journal whatever it is, if it's I want to journal my whole day, or if it's I just want to journal like what went well in my life today, well then what did I learn, and am I on the right track to where I want to be? And then it helps you to kind of give yourself permission to have it as a learning tool, not just as a purging tool, right? So I think that that's one of the key things that I hear people make mistakes with. They'll start writing and they go, I don't feel any better. And I'm like, yeah, but that's, if you do it that way, you're not going to feel better if all you're writing is all the crap. So I also, though, believe, though, no matter what, if you really want something different in your life, you have to have an idea of where you want to go. Because if you have no GPS on your compass, you are either guiding your life or life is guiding you. Which would you like? So even people are of a faith, I love the Lord with all my heart, soul, and mind. But his word says they without a vision perish. Why? Because they're going around the mountain. The Israelites who ran around the mountain a million times, they missed the exit. So, not quite the way it went, but just saying they didn't keep the main goal in mind. And so they went all over the place. The same thing can happen for us. If you don't have a goal in mind, you're just chasing life. Instead, give yourself the idea of what do I really want in my life, so I know, am I on track or off track?
That's wonderful. Would you say then that this book, along with the chapters that they read and the journal that they'll write, will lead them into identifying, getting into that particular goal?
Absolutely. I've read the
Yes.
other people's in their journal. Every one of them are so spot on of teaching you the same thing as like maybe a different manner of it. You get a little flavor, which is beautiful.
Awesome. Yes, Carmen, you want to share?
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing. I write about this in my solo book, actually, but the acronym for WRITE it comes from the Center for Journal Therapy. And there's an acronym that you can remember. It's WRITE. W is what do you want to write about? And then R is review or reflect on that. I is investigate your thoughts and feelings through your writing. T is time yourself to ensure that you write for that amount of time for your goal. And then E, exit strategy with introspection. So you're looking back at it and you're saying, why did I write this? So yeah, I definitely would say that. And one other encouragement I really feel from my chapter, particularly the windows into my soul, and then with the journal that goes along with it, with the windows, you'll definitely be able to reflect on your life. because I put so many questions in there that are deep, thought-provoking questions. They're just not surface. And I even kind of give you little activities that you can do that align with those questions as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Jacqueline, you ask how can we support people who want to journal but have never done
Yes.
it, might be scared or overwhelmed. I like to give them a metaphor and one quality or one value. So if I put myself into the shoes of someone who has never done it, the quality and or value or principle I want you, beloved viewer, to step into is curiosity. Be utterly curious about yourself or your consciousness, your thoughts, the world, life in general. Be curious, and to get into how do I write and what questions could I answer. Imagine you have a journalist in front of you who is your biggest fan and wants to get to know you. And literally, you can even in the journal, you can give it a name, the journalist. Yeah, I mean, my husband's name is Peter. So journalist Peter, question. And then whatever comes out spontaneously. Why did you say yesterday X, Y, this, when that and that happened, question mark. And then you just answer the question of that journalist. And then you just start and allow the beautiful power of handwriting is it pulls out the thoughts from you and your subconscious mind. And as long as you stay curious and don't stop handwriting, something more will be pulled out. And when your hand gets a bit tired and slow, let your fan, the journalist, jump in with the next question. Oh, how cool. And what did you learn from that situation yesterday? And you keep answering and writing and writing. So create a dialogue and stay in the quality of curiosity. And soon it becomes so natural that you can drop the journalist because the questions are now flowing also from the handwriting through you. And one of my favorite rituals I give my clients is, or tip, always have a journal and something to write, a pen, a marker beside your bed. When I work on something and I want my higher self, intuition, subconscious mind bring me ideas and answers, when I go to bed, I write down into the journal my question, my problem, my issue, please. And if you're a believer, you might say, please, Jesus, or please, God. And I then say, please, higher self, tell me. And then I ask the question in writing, and then I go to sleep, trusting, Gabby, your word, and have the faith that my subconscious mind, intuition, higher self, angel team, again, whatever you like to call it, is working overnight while I sleep on the answer, on the solution. And now it's the tricky part. I wake up in the morning most of the time because I need to go to the loo, to the restroom. So the key is, whatever you do first thing in the morning, don't grab your phone, don't talk with someone else, because then the solution and answer, which is present in your field, will poof, evaporate. You need to write it down first. And if your body bladder is very urgent in the morning, have your notebook and your pen in the restroom. I mean it seriously, because the brilliance that comes overnight out of our brain is huge, maybe divine, maybe magical, maybe from your soul, and you miss it as soon you start talking or scroll through social media or you chat with your partner or your children. It's gone. Capturing that in the morning is the key.
I will have another advice, and I love girls, your advice, and Sylvia, I love it. I just, you just make me think about it every time I get up and then I get into the shower. And I always have these amazing ideas when I'm taking a shower, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to put a board in my shower so I can write down everything. So I just laugh because it's what happened. But another thing that I would suggest is there's many ways, many ways of journaling. And I will say just start. Don't wait until the perfect journaling, a book get into your hand, or if you like this one or you don't like that, or the technique, just start. And once you start, you're gonna start looking like I always said, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and that means you're gonna find the way of doing your journaling, and you're gonna find the techniques that you like the most. So start, don't wait. And if you have the book, and if you're listening to this talk, is because the universe is showing you that there is other ways to live, and that we can plan that life and enjoy it.
Awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, clearly, this particular anthology, this is not just a book. This is not just full of stories, empowered stories, but along with it are tools that can help us live out loud now. So thank you so much, authors. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, sharing tips and tools to everyone that just needs them right now. And to everyone tuning in, remember that you're not just flipping through pages in this particular book, you're crafting a legacy, one intentional choice at a time. The book and the journal is now available on Amazon. Go ahead, grab a copy, share it with a sister, with a friend, and keep showing up for the life that sets your soul on fire. Thanks again, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Bye, everyone.